What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Beyond The Touchline. I'm your host, Mohamed Gubara.
And I'm Marcus Anthony.
Today, we're joined by Nelson Rodriguez, a professional player who's competed in El Salvador's first division with CD Aguila and many other teams within South America. Nelson, congratulations on signing a contract with FC Connecticut in the MLS Next Pro. Let's get into it. Before we talk about levels, contracts, or the professional side of the game, I always want to start with the person first because every pathway starts somewhere. Where are you from, and how did soccer first become part of your life?
No, first I want to thank you guys too for inviting me on the podcast. It's a big opportunity for me to be able to, tell my story. Hopefully it can help a lot of other people. And, also thank God for also having me on the position that I'm at as well. To get straight to it, I'm Nelson Rodriguez. I'm from Springfield, Virginia. I was born and raised here. So how soccer found me, my dad, he'd always take me to these Spanish leagues, on the weekend, always going. So I always get into the environment, the intense environment, people always yelling, cussing people out. So growing up, I was used to it, So, it really caught my attention. I started 3 years old playing soccer, and I always loved the sport. I also played football and basketball, but, I chose soccer over the other ones because it's just, it's the sport that I love. It was always there for me when I needed it. And, when I moved from my household to Colorado with a friend to play for the Rapids till I turned 18. Soccer has always been there for me.
Because everyone here has different journeys and whatnot, but growing up, I feel as though a lot of kids either play soccer to stay out of trouble, or some kids play soccer because they want to make a living out of it and they don't know nothing else but to play ball and kick ball. And if they can make a living out of it, that's how it's going to be. So what did it mean to you at that early stage of the younger days?
No, everything. It was, in my way and only way out, it was everything I wanted to be. It was my dream. It was, I wanted to live it. You also have to make sacrifices as well. You have to take care of yourself, So, those parties, everything, all of that, you got to sacrifice it, But, growing up, seeing the big stars on the TV, just living the dream, playing, working. That's what I wanted to be.
Nah, I like that because I feel as though a lot of players don't talk about the sacrifices that you have to make to kind of play at a high level, whether it's time with family, friends, or just you got to just be locked in and strict to what you want to do within that environment. So
I got a question here. When did you know you needed to separate yourself from all the distractions? When did that become like apparent? Like, when did it stick?
So I think when I realized that I needed to, I think the biggest part about that, leaving, I guess my family and stuff, I think, because I'm used to living alone. I like being alone, I think that was a big advantage for me growing up. I always like being alone. My best friend, Robinson is his name. I play with him in Rapids, we always talk about it. And, I think the biggest move for me was going to El Salvador at 18. I was thinking in my head, I was like, how bad do I really want to? How bad do I really want to become pro? And then I would always think, let's see how bad I want it. So I'm going to throw myself in the hole. I'm going to throw myself to the bottom. And I'm going to see how hard I'm going to work to get to the top, and that's my mentality. Yeah.
So you kind of took like a big like step into like, you know what? I'm gonna just make a decision and see where it goes, because for you to be comfortable, you have to be uncomfortable. And sometimes it picks out, sometimes it doesn't. But like, it's not gonna be smooth all the way. You're gonna have setbacks, you're gonna have failures here and there, but it's all about, like you said, how bad do you want it? And if you want it bad enough, you'll get what you want to get.
Definitely. I use the 5 Ps. I keep using it. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. And like Mo said, you go in, you take a leap of faith, but you're doing everything right. You're not distracted, and you're just attacking your goal day by day. And whether you see the results or not right then and there, you're just saying it will work out. It will work out, and I'll eventually, it'll eventually pay off. Whether I'm seeing or getting the gratification, the notification from anyone to tell me that I'm doing good. I feel it and I'm gonna trust the process, you know. So that's big.
I mean, once the love up for the game is there, then development starts to take over, and the part of the journey looks different for everyone. Looking back at your youth and academy years, what helped you grow the most as a player?
Personally, I think I say, my boy Rob, Robinson, me and him, we all growing up together, it's always competition, head bumping heads, we always want to be better than the other, and I think that's what helped me a lot, because for me, I kind of grew up as an only child, so my only brother that I could see, someone as my brother, is my boy Rob, so growing up, he was there. I would always go to like the coaches that I would always have too. I had good coaches, growing up, always pushing me to the max, to perfection. So, I mess up one drill, he already in my face, just yelling,
Yeah.
screaming. So, it was really, it was like, you have to be perfect, to make it, you have to.
So I'm guessing you like that competition with between you and your best friend, because you had someone there to kind of like, just, you know what, if I mess up, then he's on me every single time that I do. What was that competition like, and how did it help you kind of push yourself even more, because you get to be around players who you don't know, and you're kind of working and trying to earn a starting spot or just minutes on the field or a contract actually. So like, how did that play part into you going to trials and doing that piece competition wise?
So for that, I didn't really do trials, but the thing about that, when I went to El Salvador, I think there was a lot of coaches getting in your face. But I think if for someone to grow, you need someone like that to, to say it to your face, to be straight up, not to hide anything. And, not that it's gonna work every time, everyone's different, but, I think for some people, I think they need coaches like that to push them to the edge, because it's also, if you think about it, it's a mind game as well. How strong is your mind? Because over there in El Salvador, the fans, those fans, they ain't saving nothing. They tell you every name in the book. They even found my mom's name. They looked for my mom's name and they're standing it on the stands. They said they would kill me. They're gonna find me. I mean, it's crazy over there. So it's really a mind game. And coming over here to the States, you're not gonna find fans like that. So it's more calm. But the pressure to be playing in El Salvador, it's different. People think of El Salvador as like a low country or the ball,
Yeah, yeah.
I'll say this. The easiest thing in El Salvador is you can get a contract, but let's see if you're going to play.
You
Let's
know
see
what I
if you're
mean?
going to play. Cause yeah, hey, go ahead. No, cause you're competing against players. Darwin Seren's there. He played MLS. You're competing against players that played USL, MLS. National team players that are their legends. That are playing right now. So it's like it's a high level.
No, that's good. No, I was gonna ask a question about just the differences, right, between the US and going to El Salvador. You said that you got yelled at, and it just came to you heavy, right? There's some moments here in the US where some coaches get that way, and it's a misconception or misunderstanding that sometimes this is going to happen and you're going to have to know how to navigate versus either going into a shell or run into your parents. Because, here in the US, it's a pay to play structure, versus you having the talent, you being able to go. What would you tell players, right? This is an advice piece that just throwing in for development. What would you tell young players in that moment? What advice would you give them per se in that moment about how to navigate and just deal with that? Because like you said, it's not for everyone, but how would you just help them best, navigate that?
So like sometimes, everyone sees the dream as, oh, I'm gonna play here and I'm gonna go here, and then it's just they think it's a direct, straight line. You know what I mean? And they just think that, oh, they're just gonna make it, But this is really big on the parents, because it's not always the child's fault. Sometimes the parents think it's just a straight line. It's just, oh, yeah, he just needs to go there and he goes straight. but and it's like this, it's just going up and down, sometimes it goes in a circle, you got to restart and then go back up, it's like the parents need to understand that. I mean, sadly, the States is pay to play, sadly, nothing we can do. It's just what it is, but, those are obstacles that you have to get through, what I mean? But there are some clubs that, that would help, but, obviously you have to have the talent and, obviously you have to work hard. I think that's the biggest thing too. Sometimes I see parents pushing their kids more than the kid actually wants it, and it's like, it can't work like that. The kid has to, he has to want, or he or she has to want to make it,
So
and I think that,
do you
yeah.
do you so within your kind of younger years, did your dad push you to want to get better, or was it, you know what, I'm Nelson, I'm the one that wants to get this done and I'm motivating myself?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'd say both. I just say both. I just say that. I guess it would be a big advantage. Obviously, if my parents wanted it and the kid also wants it, it's a big advantage because you have both support. The person that wants it and the people helping. So it's a big plus. So yeah, for me, I wanted it. I'd go by myself. I'd go by myself to go train. I'll call some friends up. Yo, let's go train. They'd be like, nah, and I'd be like, all right, I'll go by myself. Ain't no problem. So it's really, I really wanted it.
So you kind of have to take care of like your own development in a sense, because at the end of the day, you're the one that's going to be paid the big bucks, and you're going to be the one that's going to sign the pro contract. So that's all it is. I mean, from your experience within like just advancing levels from being in the US to going to El Salvador, what habits or skills that became more important to you as you got older?
So with El Salvador, it's more hit. It's more hit the man. It's more stay close. Don't try no fancy stuff because we gonna hit you. But yeah, no, I mean over there in El Salvador, I learned a lot. I learned to be, be more smart. How do I say this in English? I'm starting to forget English. I've been down there too long.
Been there a lot, huh?
They call it piquería, being smart, like, being sneaky, I guess, being sneaky. Because over there's no VAR. You know what I'm trying to say.
Cheat the system kind of thing,
Yeah,
like how to read the line, how to, tug on your opponent, put him off his game, and just get the
because
advantage.
Yeah, it's like, go ahead.
no.
Nah, it's like the similar things we talk about, and we tell the players like, "Yo, sometimes you gotta just be like." Here's the thing: in a game, your opponents aren't gonna hate you, but after the game, you could be like, "Hey, good
Good
game,
game.
well done." What not? Like in corners, you don't just stand next to the guy and just,
Throw him off.
oh, start pinching him, start stepping on his cleat, something to where you can get an advantage and win a header and score a goal, because that's football, and you're gonna have to learn that way. So, I mean, I tell a lot of my players like, quit. But at the end of the game, it's kind of like, hey, well done, let's move on. But I like that piece of you talking about it, because there is no VR and it's old school soccer. There
Yeah,
ain't no looking back or anything like that.
Yeah.
So
because
I take it.
at the end of the day, it's a mind game. It's a
yeah,
mind game. I follow a lot of fighters. Like John Jones, Conor McGregor, Ilya. So it's a mind game. It's you got to win. You got to do what you got to do to win. It might not be beautiful, pretty.
Yeah.
The way how most people want. Oh, you got to be respectful. It's fair game. Sometimes there's no time for that.
It goes
Because
up
in
the
the
wind.
final, yeah, in the final, I'm not gonna be doing that in the final. I'm not gonna be doing nothing. I'm not gonna be respecting nobody. I mean, after the game, we can be friends, maybe.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I want to be the one with the trophy. I want to be the one winning. I want to be winning. There's no time. There's no time to be, making friends during the game. No time.
It's crazy you say that, right? Because that's something we tell all our guys around, right? They play, so UPSL is big now, right? They play in all these leagues and what's not, and they're playing against teammates in other teams, right? From high school in these teams, and they're going up in these games being nice about it. It's just like, no, that does not help your development. That does not help you get recruited. It doesn't get you what you want. What we want, and based on, like you said it earlier, you and your best friend, you competed with each other. There's nothing wrong because I'm assuming there were days where you were mad at each other, but you had to just squash that out and remember, hey, we're friends and we're in this together. You're my push, I'm your pull, and you know what I mean?
Mm.
Yeah,
No,
nah, that's dope. Because the one thing I think I lost my train of thought. But it's more so talking about, um, dang it. Oh, here we go. Talk a little bit more about your welcome to El Salvador moment where you were like, oh crap, how I'm in this. Tell me a
so
little bit more if you had those moments.
yeah, no. So I think because look, I'm gonna be straight up. Straight honesty. And Rapids, they were starting to sign a lot of center backs, defenders, and I
Yeah.
wasn't good. I wasn't good enough. I was not good enough. I even know it. I'm happy enough to admit that I was not good enough. So when I got the opportunity to go to Aguila reserves team,
Yeah.
I said nowhere else to go. Is this or never. Because I wasn't a great student. I wasn't, the best of the best, what I mean? But, I try. That's I try to be a good student and a good player, but the school just wasn't for me. So, it was El Salvador or nothing. So I went to El Salvador my first week there. I remember I could not sleep. I couldn't sleep. It was like, what? It's like, it's just me, it's just me then. I got no one there, it's just me. So I really, I just had to really mentally focus that I'm here for a reason. I have a goal. I have to follow the goal. Then my first month came. I was like, wow, all right, I'm starting to feel better. That was a lie. My second month came. I was already dying. I was like, I need to go home. I need to have me some Chipotle, some Canes. I need to go. I need turf fields. I can't do this. But then my third month came. My fourth month came, and I was like, all right, I'm breathing. Because over there, they do torneos. They do every 6 months, then break. So, it was finally getting to, the 6 month, and I was counting my days. I was like, this needs to hurry up.
Yeah.
But no, other than that, the lifestyle was way different. Obviously, it's going to be different. Was I scared? I wasn't scared. I was more like, damn, what am I doing, bro? Like, what am I thinking?
Yeah.
Why am I doing this to myself? But then my brain would always come back, pro, 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 pro. This is what I want. I have to suffer. I have to suffer before I succeed. So
Yeah.
it's just I have to.
No, awesome. Give me one right there, real quick, man. What age were you when you went to El Salvador?
I was 18. So
Talk.
when I went,
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I'll ask you the question after.
no, I was just gonna say that because when I went to, they were also that's when they started cleaning up El Salvador. The gangs.
Okay.
Yeah, it was really different. Being in that environment.
The one thing I want to ask is we talk about real honest truth on this podcast and you talked about you not being a great student. Talk a little bit about your school days. What did that look like and what made you go into this now?
Nah, just everyone says be a good student, study. Honestly, I'd say yeah, you need to. Cause it's you always need a backup plan. Cause right now, since I didn't go to school, what am I gonna do now? You know what I mean? What am I gonna do after my career? So that's what that's the right now in the situation that I'm in. It's like, damn, I need to be smarter. What am I gonna do after soccer? So right now, I'm taking courses to be a coach. So I have my D license, I think. And then I'm also trying to see if Connecticut can help me with, schooling as well. Because, I would opt for the younger people, I'd say, be on top of your stuff. Because, once you do make it pro, hopefully, you don't have to be in the position that I'm in. What am I
Yeah.
going to do? I don't know what I'm going to do now, this and that. But, school for me, I wasn't the best student, but I can't say that I tried. I can't say that I tried. And I thank God I had teachers that, helped me as well. I graduated on time, thank God. So I had people in Colorado when I would go to school there. They would help me, hey, you need to, wake up, don't be doing this, show up on time. I thank God I had people around me to push me.
That's awesome. With the school piece, it's unique because it's after we're done that we get that small moment to reflect and go, man, if only I knew, I would have done. But it's still not bad because what they say, as you get older, you just get wiser and you start to realize things. And with the environment you stepped into at 18 and being able to mature so quick and start to figure things out, I mean, sky's the limit still, you know, it's just a plan, realign your movements and then execute the plan again, you know?
Yeah.
We talk about all the realities because not everyone is gonna be a great student
Yeah.
and a great soccer player. A lot of kids are like, you know what? I'm only finishing high school just because I'm playing high school soccer, and that's it. And then I'm gonna go travel, go overseas, something. So I think that's important that even though that you are in this position right now, that you're still looking back and saying, you know what? I still need to get an education. I still need to go back to
Hmm.
school. And that's big. That's huge for kids because a lot of them don't really care about it and they feel as though it doesn't matter. Because here's the thing also that we talked about is who knows if you're going to have a career ending injury and like your first 3 years into pro. Like you need to have a plan B, whether you're going to use it or not. Just have it in your back pocket as, you know what? All right, cool. If anything happens, God forbid, this is my next option. So I think that's huge props to you that you're still kind of reflecting on those moments and going back to those moments. Thank you for sharing that.
On top of that, getting your soccer license, that's big, you know? Uh, There's still a lot of kids, man, that play even now. Like, I mean, for youth level, it's quick money, it's good money, and it doesn't take a lot out of you. But while you're assuming you're learning the game so much faster from a tactical standpoint, and you know, with how you choose to coach, you know, based on your experience in El Salvador, how you work with the kids versus what you experience there, you probably won't use all of it, but you use the good stuff to help develop. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
A lot of people talk about goal of going pro, but not like enough people talk about what life at that level actually demands. Tell us a little bit about, I know you talked about your first 4 months, but talk about your day to day. What does being a professional player really require?
I
What does it
think
look?
the biggest challenge for me was cooking. I think I think because living in El Salvador, there's no oh, I'm gonna just go to Chipotle and I'm gonna just stay there. I'm gonna just stay there no matter what, get my nutrition. None of that. I gotta cook. It took me a good, I'd say, 6 months to perfect cooking. Now I can cook, pasta, chicken, steak, with rice, anything I want.
Yeah.
So, this the lifestyle, the day to day for me, we would always train for preseason, we'd train twice a day, getting ready. The club would give us food. So, it would always be day to day. Sometimes it'll be gym in the morning, field at night, or field in the morning, field at night, so, and then starting to get into the season, it start being one practice a day, but sometimes 2 times a day. But yeah, over there, we don't really go to the gym a lot, so personally, me, I would have to go by myself. I'd have to go out. I have to buy my protein shakes, my pill nutrients, to take care of my body,
Yeah.
because over there, there's no nutritionist for the team. It's just the head coach, the assistant coach, and then the physical coach, and then the president and the directors. Nothing else. There's nothing else. The doctors. That's it. Everything else you got to research on your own. You just gotta be a smart. So yeah, being over there, it makes you grow up like this. I grew up. I mean, personally, for me, I'd say I grew up in like 7 months. It took me to just mature, and I need to do this and this and this. So and also my mentality was, I'm still not pro yet, because reserve team is not for me. Reserve team is not pro. That's not enough for me. I don't want to be just on a reserve team. I want that pro contract. And when I did get that pro contract, I was happy. I was happy.
So tell us where did you get your first contract?
So my first pro contract was with Luis Angel Firpo. That was back in 2023. Yeah, back in 2023. I wasn't making money. For me personally, money right now is not priority. You know what I mean? I'd rather win a trophy than have, I'd rather win an MLS trophy or a Champions League than have, all this money. You know what I mean? Because the Champions League, I'm gonna stay in the books forever.
Yeah.
Ain't no one gonna take that away from me. Money comes and goes. So my first pro contract, I barely made any money. It was like $700.
Jeez.
What's $700? We can do with $700. The good thing about $700 over there, it's it's minimum wage. I mean, you can live off of that. But as my name started growing and as I started growing as a player and my level started growing, I did started getting paid more. And I'm happy for that. I started getting way more money. It's a challenge. Sometimes it doesn't. People are like, I'm not gonna go over there and make $700. Let's just stay here. And then I'm like,
Yeah.
then you're just playing for money, and then just stay there, make money
Yeah.
there.
Talk a little bit about like the changes, I guess. So you signed your first contract and then it was time to move on. Like talk about that piece, right? Because that part kind of pushes forward your development, your drive, your hunger to go forward and really meet your ultimate goal, right? Can you talk a little bit about that, like the transfer piece and just like moving?
So when I signed my first pro contract, my goal is always to improve. I want to be a starter now. I'm pro. I want to be a starter. I ain't trying to be no bench player. And me at 19 saying that, in my head, I ain't say that to no one because they're old heads there. They're veterans. They're like, who are you? Why do you need to start? What have you won? You're not even national team, and you over here talking like you need to play. So
Yeah,
really me, I had to. Because my coach there, his name was Memo Rivera. He helped me a lot. I mean, he helped me a lot. He helped me a lot. Even though, I mess up once, he get in my face, start screaming, he was intense, but he qualified to a World Cup. He has a lot of trophies, And me, I need to listen because who am I, So, there, in Firpo, I developed a lot. In Firpo, I developed a lot. I myself, would ask the owner of the president and, the field keeper that protects the stadium. I'd be like, yo, can I go in and train? I'd go with some friends from the Reserva. I'd ask for, kids from the Reserva, yo, come with me, help me train. I would stay for hours, just crossing, shooting, headering, just trying to get better. And, and with the players that are there, they would help me too, what I mean? Because they would see, I'm trying to become better, So, the support, it was good, Because some people go, they get their I know people that right now, there are a bunch of people going from the States going over there. They get a pro contract, then they just sit back. They're like, oh, I'm pro. They just clean their hands like this. They just clean their hands. They're like, "Oh, I'm pro," and I'm
They're
like,
just,
"That's all
uh,
you want?"
yeah.
Yeah, it's like what you don't see.
Nah, that's crazy because it's kind of like elevate yourself and continue to strive to be better, even if you make that pro contract. And if you are in the starting 11, what aspirations do you want to look for? Do you want to be one of the top scorers in the league? You want to win trophies and here and there. And I saw that you got called up to the national team. You didn't make a cap, but tell us about that experience and being at camp and
yeah.
being with a bunch of old heads who played for years and played in the Gold Cup and CONCACAF World Cup, whatnot. Tell us a little bit more about that and that journey.
No, I mean, sadly, I didn't get to play any minutes. Personally, for me, I think I could have played. I could have played, but there are players there that are amazing. The starters that are playing. For example, Diego Flores. I think he's an excellent left back. I think he's an excellent left back. Center backs. I'm gonna just Henry Romero. I mean, for me, a lot of people don't like how he plays because he's dirty. He's intense. He's an intense dude. But I mean, personally, for me, I think that's a center back. For me, center back. And then, we got Julio Ciberan, Ronald Rodriguez. Right back, we got Jefferson Valladares. They call him El Piva.
Yeah,
I can go on and on. I can say the whole team.
yeah,
Yeah,
Me
yeah.
personally, I look up to everyone, even the people younger than me, because I want to take everything that they have that's good and put into my game. Everyone has something that I don't have, and I want to bring it into my game. So I can become better. I don't care how young you are. He has a good touch. Look how he does this. I'm gonna try that. See if it works for me. So just trying to just put in my brain, mental, like just stay, I always want to improve. Always want to be better. So in being with the old heads, for example, like Darren Seren, he helped me a lot. Even though, he didn't really, we didn't like talk, one-on-one conversation, seeing how he acts, seeing how he plays, listen, play, how he takes care of himself. People look at that, players see that. When I was with Aguila, you know, I see everyone, all the old heads, I see what they do, how they take care of themselves, what they do good, and I'd be like, all right, that's how I want to be. I just want to be better, always improving. So, being also in the national team, I'm also with Hill, Brian Hill, who's playing in Russia, Nathan Ordaz, I mean, Joshua Perez, everyone, it's just, you really see, the levels to the game, how people take care of themselves and stuff. It's just different.
So would you say the professionalism on and off the field, well, off the field, plays a bigger influence in the field as, as you're growing and developing?
Absolutely. I mean, let's be honest. We got Maradona, doing, drugs and, but, it's just that everyone thinks that they can be like a Maradona, party and do this. Or, I don't know if you guys know El Mágico. El
No.
Mágico or Jorge Gon. He was
Oh,
he's the
Ronaldinho as well.
yeah, Ronaldinho. For us, we have El Mágico. He was the best El Salvadorian player. He made it to Cadiz, played for Barca, but he partied. He'd always party, and that's when his career went down. And everyone thinks they can be I can drink, I can do this, and I'm gonna be here. I still play good. Don't lie to yourself. Don't lie to yourself. There's a reason why Ronaldo and Messi they're there where they're at. And a good example is look where Neymar.
Yeah.
Look, Neymar. I'm not saying he's a horrible player. I mean,
Yeah.
he's an amazing player. I mean, he's probably one of my top 10 players. But not everyone can do what Maradona, Ronaldinho, Neymar. Not everyone's like that. No one can repeat that. El Mágico. So I think sometimes kids need to understand that discipline is gonna take you farther than I'm gonna just do this, this, and this. You're doing what they want.
Yeah.
Discipline's gonna take them farther.
No, that's big. What is the biggest misconception people have about playing professionally? I wanted to just touch back on that question real quick.
They think that it's all happy, I can't wait to be here, I'm here training. I got a GPS bra on. I look nice. I look cool. I got money. I got the fancy boots, No, it's because look, at the end of the day, you're in a position where someone else wants to be. Because let's say you have a year contract. I have a year contract. Like, I'm gonna put me for example. I have a year contract with CT. How many people want my position? How many? And if I mess up, that's gonna give them leverage to not re-sign me and for them to sign someone else. So I need to show out what I have to get to get re-signed, to stay in this league, because I don't want to go back. Because if I go back, I'm taking steps backward. I want to move forward. My dream league is La Liga. I want to be in La Liga. So for me personally, I need to stay disciplined, and like you said, what's like the reality? The reality is always on the edge. Cause you mess up one day, you're giving the people behind you a step forward to get
Yeah.
closer to grab you like this. They're gonna grab you and they're gonna move you. They're gonna throw you in the back of the line, Cause I've restarted. My progress has restarted so many times. I mean, it's taken me back to the start so many times. I'll give you an example. I was going to sign it was 2 years ago. I was going to sign, I think I can say, I don't think I'll get in trouble, but I was going to sign for Chattanooga. I was on the call with the president, the coaches, everyone. A week later, and then they're like, we're going to send you the contract. 2 weeks later, they bring a guy from Romania. They said, they're like, nah, we don't want you no more. All right. I restarted. And that didn't get to my head. I kept going. Another offer came up, Carolina Core. Oh yeah, we're excited. We can't wait to have you. This and that. We'll bring you on a trial. I'm like, okay. 3 weeks later, we don't want you no more. Restart. So every restart for me was a lesson. To keep working hard. I wasn't good enough. All right, I'll work harder. So it's not always that you're happy. It's not always, I look fancy. It's not always, I don't have to worry about a thing. No, I made it. No, if you're not playing the top 5 leagues of the world, top 4 leagues or top 3, you need to work. You need to work because this is my life. This is my life. This is my job. I'm not making no millions of dollars. I'm not making no hundreds of thousands of dollars. This is my life. I need to survive. This is what I need. So to tell the younger people, the younger generation is that don't stop working because the next guy, he's not gonna feel bad for you. he's not gonna feel bad for you. He's not going. He's gonna be in your position, in your spot, with your same number, laughing at you because you messed up. That's how my mentality is right now. I have a 1-year contract to prove who I am, and if I don't prove who I am in that year, all right, we'll get someone else to come do it. Let's see who's not. This is just another guy that came by. It's whatever.
Fair enough. I try to tell players this, like, because I coach a collegiate level, I coach JUCO. I tell them that, like, no matter what happens, I still got to get another player next year. So again, I know I'm only 2 years versus 4, but I still have to add strength to the team. And it's nothing personal. You could attest to that as well, right? Because it's not personal. It's a business. It's your lifestyle. You want to make a career out of it. You want to make money. You want to, like, it's not about so much the fancy stuff. Is you want to be happy doing what you love doing, and too many people take it for granted, and they literally, like you said earlier, I made pro, I'm good, and then become a has-been, and then the blame turns out to be on everyone except the person in the mirror, so no, that's big.
Because I feel like for me, I mean, me coaching that club and coaching U17s and whatnot and older, it's more so me preparing them for the next level, for those who want to play at the next level. Because you see it a lot of times that some kids love the hard coach, love the coach who's strict, love the coach who's like, you got to get it done and be disciplined. And some kids just don't like it. And for me, I have to balance both to figure out how to help prepare this player for whatever he wants to do ever in life, and versus the player who wants to play at the next level and is like, yo, like, you're being too nice. So I think that's the biggest piece, is preparing those players to play at the next level, and development as well, because I'm trying to develop players and trying to make them better. Versus pro level, it's more so like, if you're not good enough for my system, I'm about to go buy another one. That
Literally.
don't hurt.
Literally.
I mean, at that point, talent alone isn't enough. Like, mindset, like, starts to separate players. How has your mindset evolved since you first became a professional, since playing in the academy, going into Salvador, and coming back now?
I like that I was able to realize that I wasn't good enough early on. I was able to be truthful with myself. Cause some people, they're like, "Oh no, I'm good, and this is me. I'm the best already." You're like, come on, let's be serious, man. Like, come on. For me, I thank God that I was able to realize that I'm not good enough. No, I can't lie to myself. So I really pushed myself, to be able. Now, personally, I'm comfortable with saying I'm good. I know who I
Yeah.
am. Like, I know what I'm capable of. I'm good. But I also want to be the best. I also want to be the best, Salvadorian player, the best defender. That's right now. That's my goal, actually. My goal to to be the best Salvadorian defender. Because right now it was Pacheco. Pacheco, they killed him, for exposing the truth of the federation. Back then. So me looking at him as an idol. I want to make it true.
Now, I'm about to jump a little bit to your time in El Salvador. Tell us a little bit about the tactical side of the game. What did that look like, and how did you evolve yourself into the tactical side of the game?
So let me put you an example. If you do like 2 scissor cuts, you better watch out with
Yeah.
your knee. You know what I mean? Don't cut back and cut back in with that ball, because you're gonna get sliced. It's like, don't do no fancy movement, because we don't like that. So I was personally, for me, there are a lot of good players that dribble, that are, they like that pretty ball, But once I have you in range, don't do that. I was on the phone with one of my close friends. He plays here MLS. So I was on the phone with him. And he was talking, like, he was like, these boys, if they go down your line and they do some fancy stuff, they better be ready, because I don't like it. Personally, me, I don't like, people trying to make me, people doing this and that. It's, I mean, like, right now, I look, good, funny, talk to, it's whatever, I mean, but, once we're on the field, it's different, but to answer your question, the tactical aspect, it's preseason over there, speed, hustle, 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 back and forth, you see a lot of players that, that look big, that look fat, but it's the shirt, right? Because they take, when we're training, they take their shirt. They're big, they're buff. It's not that they're fat, they're big.
Yeah.
So, and in the tactical aspect, they like man to man. They like man to man. High pressing. Possession. The teams that I've been is mostly possession. What I mean, but there are teams that just do long ball. Because I mean, in El Salvador, let's be honest. They only like teams like 6 good teams that that know how to play. The rest is just long ball. But yeah, I mean, the tactical aspect is hit the man. No matter what, just hit the man. Be strong in the 50-50s. You better win it. Aerial. Oh yeah, so I'd add aerial to the because the teams that do long ball, speed, being sneaky, someone you smart fouls, and over here in the States, it's really don't get too close, don't get too close, So for me, it's gonna be a new challenge, that I like. I'm gonna see how I can adapt to this. Hopefully, I don't get no red cards, So
Yeah.
it's gonna be a big challenge for me. I won't even say challenge, big objective for me. Just be smart.
No, fair enough. Talk about, all right, so I played defense. I started as a defender. Right? Talk about that first tackle in the first player to come down the line next to you. Talk about that first tackle, because I think people misunderstand it. And maybe you could back me up with this. The first person that comes down the line that tries anything fancy, is your objective to get them to go to the other side of the field? Is it not? Or am I wrong about that?
It is. No, it is. It is. It is. I know, playing down there, that's happened so many times. I hit them good once. They're like, let's switch.
Yeah.
You know, you know.
But that's big though, right? Because it's your tactical advantage, right? For me, the player, you're not about to do nothing crazy around me, and I don't know how to stop you. So the moment if I could body you off or nice scissors tackle, like when I first came to the U.S., those were the tackles I was throwing because I grew up in the Caribbean. That is the
Yeah.
style of play. But here, in the U.S., you're not seeing a scissors tackle easily because now they're the safety of the game. This and
Yeah.
like you're playing against boys against men, and you have to adjust and adapt quick. But I think even here, like Mo could back me on this. Like not very many kids, even in the midfielders, like even just defenders in general. Not many throw slide tackles. I don't know why. Like
You got to
No,
think
I
about
mean,
the Gattusos of the world, AC Milan, the Maldinis. They will take you out. Like the first tackle of the game sets the tone early. Like it sets it early that
not
I'm coming for your legs and the ball. I'm taking you with the ball.
not
So
even just like I'm setting the tone for my team.
yeah, no, like I mean, there are other center backs. I mean, I think Beckenbauer said this. He said, if you slide tackles because you're late to the ball, you know what I mean.
mm,
But if you're Sergio Ramos, who cares? It is what it is. You gotta just be ready. Pepe, it's just, I respect, all the center, all the top center backs. I see what they have, I see what they say, how they play, their tactical stuff, but, you guys are right. I mean, if a player's coming down the line doing fancy stuff, you gotta show him that you ain't gonna be doing that today. You're not gonna be doing that around me. Because Salvador, it's a form of disrespect. The player doesn't respect you. He's not respecting you.
Man.
For like example, one of my teammates in Aguila, they're messing around. They do a little meg. We're doing rondo. He says in Spanish, he cusses him out. I won't say that, but I won't say that. But he's like, do that again and watch what happen. Yeah, he didn't do it again. He didn't do it again.
Trying to have a career.
Yeah. So it's intense. I mean, it's intense. I mean, and like you guys said, the ball here, it's more, it's more relaxed. It's more pretty. It's more. Oh, I like how it looks. It's more fair game. So I'm excited for this upcoming season because not a lot of people see me play before. So it's I just it's a new challenge as well. So I can't
I
wait.
got a little bit of highlights on the YouTube, man. Hey, man, tackles, man. Inside the 18-yard box, just pow.
I mean, but you know for sure you're gonna win the ball. So I wouldn't even, back to what you said, right? Earlier, I wouldn't even say you're late to the ball. You just know you need to win this moment right here, right now. And you are so spot on with your space and timing that you know you're gonna get it. That player just edged you on being a little bit more technical in that moment at time. But 9 times out of 10, you're gonna throw a tackle in a box. You definitely know you're gonna win it. And without VAR, I guess that's also a heavy plus.
Yeah. Oh,
The
go
stuff
back.
I've seen.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, like, the stuff I've seen with, since there's no VAR. I mean, you guys wouldn't even believe.
Uh, I'd say go back to fields. You came from America to these nice grass fields, turf fields, and then you got to go to El Salvador and just, hey man, grass. Because here's the thing that I also did with my U12 team. They're 11 going into 12. We play Hispanic League. And you know, Hispanic leagues, it's like you're playing on dirt grass, there's bumps and whatnot. The kids come up to him and be like, Coach, why is there bumps? And I'm like, hey, I gotta play. So I have two Hispanic kids on the team, and they already knew what the goal was: is take them, score goals, defend, do what it is, and they're 12. So then the rest of the group kind of followed them and started doing it. So now when we go to our league games where we're playing on turf, listen, I got kids at U11 and 12s getting yellow cards. So that should
Yeah.
tell you something. Like kids going in for tackles. So tell us a little bit more about that and your experience with that, so people understand the level going from here to there, even though it's pro.
So the one thing I would say is you have to have a good touch. If you do not have a good touch, you're not gonna be able to play anywhere, especially in El Salvador. You know, because the field. I mean, I'll give you one stadium, for example, Hokoro. Bro, I'm not lying to you guys. They
How do
had
you spell
little
that? Let's see.
stones on the pitch.
How do you
You touch
spell
the
that?
ball, Hokoro. It's a J-O, a C, and then R-O, and then stadium, Hokoro Stadium.
Yeah, let's see
El
this.
Salvador. I mean, that field was just horrible. I mean, I couldn't believe it when I first played there. And funny enough, that's where I first debuted as a pro on that field.
But
And it was,
nice.
I mean, it was just, that field was just, I mean, I couldn't believe it. I was begging for a turf stadium. That was the first day where's the turf? But no, in reality though, they're actually, I'd say, about a good 7 stadiums that have good grass, that have like beautiful grass. I would say El Quiteño,
Yeah.
that's Fase Stadium, and Metapan Stadium. They have Bermuda grass. So it's not the whole country is horrible. It's just
But
certain stadiums that you have to like deal with it.
Yeah.
no, that's cool because I mean I like playing in Hispanic leagues, to be honest. I love playing in Hispanic league because it brings a little bit something out of the game that a lot of kids don't play. So my younger teams in the summertime we play a regular league and I put them in Hispanic leagues because bro, it's like constant rotation. It's the referees sometimes looking the other way and whatnot, offsides, everything goes
Yeah.
on. Kind of like just play. And if you're stronger, better, you'll win the game. But if you're gonna be a wuss about it and be soft about it, then you're not. Because I had a kid who doesn't like going into tackles. Like he hates going into tackles. So we put a Hispanic league. First game, whoosh. After that moment, I think he plays aggressive every time. Yes, sometimes he might back off, but he's been like go on it. So I like that piece as well, too.
I even talk about. Go ahead.
No, I mean, I was just gonna say, one thing that, I would say this that bothers me about the United States is that it's gone. How do I say this so I don't get in trouble?
I got it for you.
Yeah, it's I don't want to say, I don't want to be specific, but there are a lot of parents that they complain, then the coaches get sued, and then it's really I'd say the law or the parents are ruining what soccer is supposed to be.
Free.
Because once you're a pro, everyone's, I mean, they're gonna cry, they're gonna smack you everything, and I mean, even in the younger leagues in El Salvador, they do that, and they grow up quick, but here in the States, I feel like the soccer would be way much better if it wasn't for the system protecting it. It's like closing it in.
I mean, I think it became such a money grab, right, in the state, right? Because it's the world's game, football, world's game. where you could put two shoes or backpack on each side and you mark your field and you just play, you know. I think that level of soccer got taken away from the US or put wasn't like introduced to the US. I don't think they got that style of play or understood that that's the freedom to play. They just got the structure and then it became a money grab because not even just coaches getting sued. It's like the levels, the leagues, all of that. Like, you know, I was gonna say for Hispanic League, I love playing it as an adult. Like, you know, it like the refs were like they played or they understood that the freedom of the game and they called more hard tackles than they did the soft one because there's no way me and you, I'm attacking you and we're going body to body. And then all of a sudden, you know, I'm bodying you the whole game and then you knock me off the ball and I'm over here looking at the ref. Whereas, you know, they'll let that slide versus in the structured league, it's just like every call just stops the game and the game has no real flair. Like it's not like it's not just, it's more so I want to win versus I want to win, but I want to see myself improve as I play, you know? So I think, yeah, the game has gotten a little bit soft in the US and it's taken away from true development, you know?
I mean, everyone chasing this game like has a dream, and dreams require daily commitment. You've spoken about playing at the highest level that you can. What does chasing that dream look like for you right now?
You know, I'm hungry. I'm not where I want to be. I'm not where I want to be. I want to be at the top league. I want to be winning. I want to, trophies. I want to be in La Liga. I'm not where I want to be yet. I'm not even starting on my national team. You know what I mean? So it's like I need to be a starter. I need to play. I need it. I need it. It's not that I want it. I need it. So there's a difference. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a difference. Big, and there's some players that just don't. They're just there and they're like, oh, like you said, already. Like we already talked about. So I'm already here.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I'd say, what advice would you give to players who feel behind or overlooked?
If they know they're behind, well, then why aren't you working hard enough? If you know you're not doing what you need to do, why not? You know how, like me, growing up, before I went to El Salvador, before I went to Colorado, I was training 3 times a day, even when I had school, you know what I mean? If my parents watch this, they're gonna be mad, but it's whatever. I would skip school to go practice, I would skip school to go practice in the morning. I would go midday and then I got practice at night, So it's like, I wanted this, it's how bad do you want it, at the end of the day. And I'm not saying kids skip class, I'm not saying do that. Don't do that.
Yeah.
I was just saying,
No, I
I
mean,
would be a bad example.
I think like we talked about it earlier. I think we touched on it. But in your situation, we look at it and we go, school might not be for everyone. We're not saying not get an education. Do get an education, right? You put the best effort in and you do the best you can. But when you think about your passion, you think about what it is that you love doing, and it doesn't have to be soccer, just to anyone with whatever they love doing. It's so big that you have that outlet. You have the ability to just be free. Like for us, whenever we step on the field as coaches or as players, that's where the reality gets separated and kind of have fun and just be a kid again, even though the hamstring might be tight, even though the knee is going to hurt the next 2 days, need to recover and stuff like that is the ability to just know that you took every advantage during your youth to get so many touches to play and just have fun. And you connected the dots to making it your reality, as to what it is that you want to do. So
Yeah.
I can't knock you down, man. I went to school. I went to I went to school to play ball. That's what I did. And as I got out, I got hurt my first year in college, and I was like, oh, boy, I got to think about this different. Then I tore my ACL the next year. I was like, oh, yep, I think that pro dream kind of left a little. So figure it out, but it's love of the game, man.
All right. Well, I have 3 quick questions. All right. Favorite pregame meal or snack?
So look, like for me, I don't eat breakfast. So I don't eat breakfast. So, and especially in El Salvador, you got limited options. So I mean, I'd say my pregame meal would be like I'm not saying kids follow this route. I'm just saying this is what I had to eat, because I'd be lazy. I'd be waking up late because, if we play home game, I wake up
Yeah.
late, I got to eat what I got to eat,
Yeah.
Uh, I would eat fried chicken, with a burger and a Coke, So I'm not saying, it's just,
Hey,
it's just me.
you got a nutritionist now.
Now I got a nutritionist,
Yeah.
But I know Salvador, it's just the lifestyle. Like I said, it's just different, And me, everyone knows me, because I eat a lot, I eat a lot, So when we would play away games, the team would pay for our food, So I would eat my food and I'll be looking at my teammates' food, see who didn't finish. I'll be like, "You gonna eat that? I'll take that," you know. So, but when I would eat on away games, it would be like pasta, what the team gives us,
Okay.
chicken. But yeah, for me, I'd be eating, like Wendy's, McDonald's. I'm not saying follow the kids that gonna watch this don't follow the same path that I did. Be smart in your decisions, but that's what I would eat.
Music before a game. Who's on repeat?
Ooh, I like me my money back, yo. I like
Oh,
me my 21 Savage,
okay.
I like that type of music,
All right.
No young boy.
Yeah. If well, I'll say I'll put a young boy song in there. Kodak Black. I put Kodak Black in there too.
Yeah.
All right. Hardest opponent you faced.
It's a good question. That's a good question. I'd say in Chelehu when I play Central American Cup with Aguila against Chelehu in
Yeah.
Guatemala, different level. I mean, different level. I mean, we're talking players that played in America, that played First Division Colombia. I mean, they were just fast, passing the ball around. We lost 3-0 that game, in an international stage. So, that says a lot, You know, I don't remember his name, but it was a right winger. He was of color. He was good. He was really good. These guys were shooting from half field outside the 18. They were doing shots that I would only see in Brazil. Like it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
just crazy. And then Olympia from Honduras, where these are guys.
They're
Like I'm
huge.
6'1", I'm 6'1", but these guys are like 6'7". And I'm like, what the hell is this? you know, I remember his name is Benguche, a striker for Olympia. I gave him cause he's tall and I was marking. I hit him 5 times on the leg. He didn't feel nothing. All he did was just he turned around with his arm and I went flying. I was like, all right. That's how is that we tied 2-2 that game. It was a good game. Yeah, nah. The international. If I'm saying international, I'd say Olympia and Chenlehu were the hardest teams I played. And everyone on that team was good. And for in the country El Salvador, I don't want to say names because they gonna feel
Yeah,
good
no, no.
about it.
You're good. Good.
But I'll just say the team name. I'll say the team name. Alianza. Alianza has good players. Metapan, Firpo, and I will say, I'll just leave it at that. I'm gonna make some people mad. I'm
No,
gonna make.
that's fine. That's totally fine. Hey, I got 2 questions. All
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
2
yeah.
questions for me. All right. Jersey swaps. Have you done any jersey swaps and which one was your best one?
Those jersey swaps, But I probably will be doing jersey swaps this season, with some players. Mostly my friends, because I'll be playing against them. So yeah.
And then last one, anyone you want to give a shout out to, in terms of like anyone that's helped you along the way, like, family, friends, just anyone.
There are a lot of coaches that help me, obviously my parents, that helped me with this, obviously. And most definitely God, God, he's been with me since the start, and, he's been there for every time I had to restart, he'd be like, work. And, I promise you, you're going to get another offer, so, big shout out to God if he listening right now, but, shout out, the coaches, I don't want to say names.
All right. Last final question. If a young player is listening to this right now, to this episode today, what's the one thing they can start doing tomorrow to move closer to their goal?
Make a schedule. Whatever God you believe in, if you're Muslim, Catholic, Christian, start praying. You know what I mean? That higher power, he's gonna help you through anything. Cause He's going to believe in you. Most importantly, and of all things, believe in yourself. Though it doesn't matter what the people on the outside are saying to you. Work. They call you crazy is worth it. I mean, they called me crazy for, when I was in El Salvador, I was, my training and stuff, they'd be like, this dude crazy. That's fine. I'm crazy. But, at the end of the day, when you make it to where you want to be, you're going to be happy, You're going to be happy because you made it. You made your goal. You're accomplishing your stuff, Me being crazy is allowing me to sign for CT, you know what I mean? Me being crazy is going to allow me to make it to La Liga. Me being crazy is going to allow me to win these trophies, So, for the people listening, just, work, be crazy, you know what I mean? Like me, I was training on Christmas, I even spent time with my family like that, This New Year's, I'm gonna go straight to training, you know what I mean? It's just, this is what I want, this is what I need to be, So just train, eat right, be smart in your decisions, take care of your body because, you're only young for so long, because once you're old, then you're gonna start feeling those effects that you didn't do when you were younger.
Yeah.
When you weren't taking care of your body. So, just if this is what you want to be, start correcting your mistakes now before you're older and you can't correct them no more.
Yep. Nah, that's big. Well, Nelson, we really appreciate you taking the time to share your journey today. Not just the highlights, but the honesty behind the work, the setbacks, and the daily commitment it takes to stay in the game.
I mean, for everyone listening to this episode, this is a reminder that the pathway isn't linear. It's built on patience, self-belief, showing up consistently, even when nobody's watching. Nelson's story shows that growth doesn't come from shortcuts. It comes from embracing the process, learning through adversity, and staying true to why you fell in love with the game in the first place. If you're a player chasing the next level, take one thing from today's episode and apply it to your routine tomorrow. Like small habits done daily create big opportunities over time. Nelson, wishing you nothing but success in your next journey at Connecticut United. Hopefully, we can show up there and maybe watch a game and whatnot and say what's up. And to everyone listening, thank you for tuning in to Beyond The Touchline. If this episode resonated with you, make sure to share with a teammate, a coach, or someone chasing the game just like you.
Thank you for your time, Nelson.
No, thank
Appreciate
you guys. Thank you guys for having me. Thank you.